Hey y'all, hi. Today I'm going to be filming a Terry Barber inspired and wearable, like a casual, wearable, probably quick, but Terry Barber inspired makeup look for you using the custom Terry Barber inspired palette that I have built. I built this on camera, and that video I think will have gone up on my YouTube channel last week. When this one goes up, I'll definitely link that down below. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Hannah. I'm glad that you're here. I love beauty and I also love using what I own. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm not reviewing any new makeup. I'm just using something I built out of stuff I already owned to do something that I've been newly inspired to do. If that kind of content sounds good to you, I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. Now let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. Do you remember last month when I said that Yes Style had asked if I wanted to review anything on camera? And I said that I wanted to review a couple of textural editorial tops. This is one of them. My review is that it's surprisingly enormous, to my great pleasure, and perfect for filming a Terry Barber inspired makeup look. If you don't know who Terry Barber is, then stop watching this video right away and click through to his Instagram and just check him out. And you'll see that a bunch of the looks are evocative of things in everyday life, like beautifully commercial colors and finishes and textures and yucky, mucky stuff, grubby cigarette ash, roast chicken skin, dishwater. And I love that, but I also do feel like, in spite of how extremely artistic his Instagram page is, I also feel like a lot of the looks are actually pretty wearable, and a lot of them are way less complex than what I usually do for like a normal wearable makeup day. A lot of the looks on that Instagram page appear to be just single shadow looks. A lot of them have just like one texture all over the entire look and then maybe a little bit of liner. And so in a funny way, doing Terry Barber inspired looks has caused me to scale back. And I have been working with this palette since I created it. It's been a couple of weeks now, so this isn't my first rodeo, but this is the first one that I'm bringing to you as like a demonstration, and it's going to be one of the simplest, I think, that I've done. I'm pretty much just gonna take this shadow. This is an Adept Cosmetics Matte ACM 28, and I'm just gonna put it all over my lid with a fluffy brush. All over my lids, both lids. I think I said I was putting it all over my lid. I'm putting it all over my lids. There it is all over my top lids, blended out. I have a dry patch on this eyelid just from, dry skin, a little bit of flaking. So it's not sticking perfectly over that spot, but that's okay. We're not really aiming for some sort of airbrushed perfection here. We're just putting on makeup. I'm gonna put some on the lower lash line, and I'm using the Rephr 02 for this. Okay, that's pretty much it for that. I'm tempted to do more. I'm tempted to build in another color and mess with it, but this is the look, right? But I'm going to add a little bit of black eyeliner. This is something that I've observed, and you might have noticed that I didn't like pull up an image. You know what I mean? I'm not like looking at a picture and trying to replicate it. I think that working with this palette, this inspired by palette every day, has brought me into a realm of inspired by that isn't imitative directly. You know what I mean? I'm not like trying to recreate specific looks. I'm trying to recreate something that's in the spirit of what I've absorbed, going back to Terry Barber's work again and again and again and looking at it again and again. It's like little phrases and little bits of imagery have stuck, and they've all blended together in my mind to create a facility for something that's a little bit new to me. So one of the things that I've seen, that I've noticed, is a very, very thin line of eyeliner in the lash line, like filling in the spaces in between where the lashes enter the skin, or I guess exit the skin, right? Just that little line, not necessarily like a super dark water line, but just a very thin lined line at the base of the lashes, with a dark liner on a pale all over the lid look like this, without necessarily blending it out or smoking it out, but just having that little line. And usually I tend to like really blend and smoke my eyeliner out into the outer corner and up onto the lid and all of this stuff. So just doing this little thin line and just blending it a little bit right around the lash line, that kind of a light touch has been kind of novel for me. So I put a very thin line on my lower lash line. Again, not my waterline, just my lower lash line. And I'm just gonna smudge it out a little bit with a pencil brush. I'm gonna put a little bit of that black liner in amongst my lashes on the tops of my lids as well. But I'm going from underneath here. I'm essentially tight lining. But I'm gonna leave that. I don't want any of this black liner actually on my lid. I really wanna keep it monochromatic with the shadow on the lid. And I know that once I put mascara on, there will be some, you know, little darkness, little dark lines of my lashes curling up over the eye look. So that'll help balance out what's on my lower lash line. My brows already have a little bit of product in them. They are a little bit tangled. I just used the M Cosmetics brow gel. I don't really love it. It doesn't have much of a hold. So I can't get those like super structured, pasted on brows that I like. But once again, a little snatch of something that I've read on Terry Barber's Instagram to do with brows. I saw a picture of these, you know, tangled brows and saw the little caption on the Instagram said something about being tired of these brows that all look the same, that are like really, really structured and just everyone's brow looking the same because they're all like painted in and filled. Terry Barber said it in much, you know, briefer language and not so elaborate. I'm like doing the opposite of paraphrasing, basically like drawing out what he said. But I absorbed this sense of an appreciation for a tangled and kind of individual brow, like a brow that has individual character. So I brushed up my brows with the brow gel, but I did it kind of backwards. I like brushed against the grain of them and then sort of let them just settle. I moved a couple of hairs around just so there wouldn't be too obvious of gaps, like in a couple of spots. But for the most part, I just let them be like uneven and natural and a little bit tangled. Now I'm gonna apply the mascara. I'm going to use the Pat McGrath Dark Star, which is on its last legs, and then layer some of this Deuce Punk Volumizer mascara. It's very goopy and has this kind of like feathery brush. And I'm gonna try to get a little bit of a, you know, an icky, sticky, sort of spider leggy look on the eyes, on the eyelashes. Okay, one of the things that I love about absorbing, again, this work, this makeup artist's work, is that it reinforces my personal lash aesthetic, which is this, you know, really, it's like a slight edge of the grotesque and like a slight nod maybe to the super mod spidery lashes of the 60s, but updated, like that crossed with like the grunginess of the 90s and just quite dramatic, even on top of something pretty simple. And so I like seeing that over and over again in somebody's work and also in this really artistic way. I feel like in this case, you know, it definitely doesn't look like too much. I mean, I never think it looks like too much. I always like it just how it is. But especially with this simple wash of color on the lids, it's like it was missing some kind of edge before, just a little bit of something to sink your teeth into. And now with these slightly icky, sticky, slightly spiky lashes, it has that. I definitely want to bring a little bit of shape and color to my face, but I don't want to go in with anything that's going to lean at all orange. I really want it to be super neutral. So I'm just going to use the Kevyn Aucoin Neo Highlighter in Sahara, which I use as a bronzer, especially this more brown side of it. I'm going to warm up my cheeks with that and maybe my neck a little bit, although my neck's not looking too much more yellow than my face today. I really like how Terry Barber plays with blush placement. And again, one of these little snippets that I've absorbed is the idea that there's actually no perfect place for blush. Like there's no ideal spot on any one person's face, but rather that by moving the blush around, you can kind of get different effects, a different sensibility, a different vibe. Today I'm just sticking with my usual, which is to place the blush pretty high up, like behind the eye, essentially on my cheekbone. That's like what I usually do, almost like a combination of blush, contour, and bronzer. Like I'm bronzing and contouring with blush basically. And then to bring it a little bit down to here, just for the shine, just for like a little bit of glow, especially with a product like this, which is, you know, essentially a highlighter. That's looking a bit glowy, maybe a bit glow. I liked the kind of matte look before when my face, my face was super washed out because I only had concealing products on my skin, but I feel like this glow is a little bit counteracting the kind of flat, simple look that I was going for. I'm gonna get the brush that I used on my complexion and just buff out the cheeks a little bit and tone them down a little. In person, it looks very subtle, but looking in the monitor, the lights are catching like a pretty strong shine on camera. But in person, I'm very happy with the way that it looks, so I'm just gonna stick with that. For the lips, I think I wanna use one of my custom colors. This is also from a recent video. I'll try to remember to link that down below as well. I think I might either wanna use, I think I either wanna use Redwood Construction, which is the sheer, kind of slightly brown, very easy to wear, or Baby Bella, which is, I just don't know if I really want to go there. This is Baby Bella. It would look good, but I think I've been really having like a monochromatic outcome in mind. Let's try Redwood Construction. It also has that brown, it's a sheer. It looks good, but I want a little bit of something more. I'm gonna try mixing it with this lipstick, which I called Sooty Peony, just to get it a little bit more opaque and a little bit more of like a pale nude. Exactly, that is exactly it. I'm so into these lipstick colors and I'm over here mixing them together even though they were custom to begin with. I went in and toned down the cheeks even more with a little bit more concealer. I kind of wanted to get back to that much more monochromatic face, like much more monochromatic skin look once I had everything else on. But that's it. And you know, if you follow me, if you've watched me get ready before, or if you've seen me do glamorous looks before, complex looks before, you'll know it's not like an insane departure for me. Like it's not like you never see me wearing a simple look like this. But it does feel very different, and it also definitely feels different procedurally, right? Like there's something about marching to the beat of someone else's drummer a little bit that lets you off the hook for all the things you always do or the way that you always do things, and it kind of like opens up new creative possibilities. I do want to put my mole back on, but I don't have a brown eyeliner over here, but I do have this lipstick, which is Revlon Mink. I'm gonna try it. Yeah, it looks very mole-like, I think. Yeah, I'm 100% here for this. I feel like there's something very fresh about it, and I feel like I could go about my day now just here in the house, helping with the baby, cooking dinner, doing stuff, and I won't feel self-consciously like, oh, I've been filming, like, oh, Hannah's definitely been filming because look at her face, you know, which is how it is a lot of the days when I do film. I'm just like very made up for the rest of the context of my life. But I feel like this will work more seamlessly with the rest of the context of my life. It's more like something that I might do on a day when I wasn't filming. But I could also go on to film a couple of videos like this and I would definitely feel YouTube ready and camera ready. So I love a look that sits right on that line. I hope you enjoyed this. Check out Terry Barber if you haven't. Check out my video, the overhead video in which I built my custom palette if you haven't. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself today, because that's what will make you the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.